Okay, just want to touch on the previous video again. So if you're going into the US market with other partners, for example, could be your spouse, long-term business partners, or family members, friends, like people that you know you're not going to just acquire one property or do one deal with, and you're planning to grow that portfolio to maybe 2 or 3 different properties. What you can also do is you just use the share of the LLC, get everything set up in the very beginning, and then acquire that property. But make sure it's a long-term partner because the moment that you need to kind of separate or create a bit of separation, buying, selling the share of the LLC is actually much more complicated. Just want to throw in here, disclaimer is always going to be taught to your cross-border accountant lawyer. Let them know the full setup, let them know the situation, and they're going to advise accordingly. Let's quickly talk about the LP setup, which is how you can actually avoid the double taxation. A lot of people are very concerned about this, but one thing that I do want to mention is that it's not a scary thing. Double taxation simply means that you're following the Canadian taxation. Okay, just like you invest in any markets in Canada. Okay, so it's not really that you need to pay the full portion to the IRS and you need to pay another full portion to the CRA. It's just covering the difference. So all the tax owing needs to go to IRS, but whatever that's left over, now the CRA is going to come after you. So it's not that crazy. So don't overthink about this part. The most common way for you to avoid the double taxation is that you're going to be owning 2 additional corporations. So one is called C Corp, the other one is a LP, limited partnership. And the main reason why you need to do it this way is because LLC is not being recognized by CRA. The LP is the only entity that will allow you to avoid that double taxation from the CRA. Okay, so it's just a flow-through company for LLC. It doesn't get recognized, and that's why when you're owning a property, you need to have the LP involved. And the C Corp is kind of like a management company. So you have these two set up, own that LLC. If you do also have a bigger, asset or portfolios in Canada, there might be a Canadian holdco. But my honest recommendation is that don't even worry about any of this when you're first acquiring the first 2 properties, because there's going to be a setup fee that's going to cost you a lot of money. On top of that, every single year, there's going to be a maintenance fee, year-end filing, all that stuff is going to chew up pretty much the first 2 properties of a margin completely. So keep things very simple in the very beginning. Use the LLC to own the property. As you're growing your portfolio, you're making some money, then you can use that money to register different entities. Try to set things up in a way that will allow you to save more money. But I wouldn't spend the money that you haven't earned. So that's my recommendation. And obviously, talk to your cross-border accountant lawyer. And if you have any questions about how we set up our corporation, which is a little bit more complicated than this, happy to chat with you as well.